I've been using the DJI Mic 2 now for several months, and there's one feature that is actually a no-brainer if you're thinking of upgrading from the DJI wireless mics if you vlog with the Osmo Action 4 like I'm doing at the moment. And I'll get onto that in a sec, because there are also some really awesome features that also make it incredibly useful. But to understand why this one feature is a no-brainer, I first need to explain why it's important to use a microphone with the Osmo Action 4. And if you're not a beginner and this is kind of not all new to you, then you can just skip along with the chapters that are in the description. If you use the Osmo Action 4 as a vlogging camera, then you'll know how great it is in terms of the audio quality and the video quality. But if it gets even a little bit windy, regardless of whether you use the wind noise reduction feature on the Action 4, your audio is going to suffer a little bit. So to make sure that you're not compromising the audio quality, you kind of need to use an external mic, and there are two options. You could go for a shotgun mic, but the problem with that is you still need to be quite close to the microphone, so you can't really go far away because you'll get the best quality if the microphone is quite close to your mouth. So the second option is to actually use a wireless mic. So not only does using a wireless microphone give you the freedom and flexibility to move around your camera without having to worry about the audio quality, but it also means that you're keeping your whole setup really small and streamlined. If you were to use a shotgun mic, you'd have to get additional accessories, whereas if you're using a wireless microphone, you don't really need anything extra. And this is actually a real bonus when you come to vlog with a gimbal, if that is something that you do, and I'll talk about that more in another video. Using an external mic with the Action 4 actually brings up two problems, and the first one comes down to the wide field of view. Because it is such a wide field of view, if you attach a transmitter, then you're kind of going to see it in the frame no matter whether you shoot in the standard field of view or the wide field of view. You'll still see it as you move the camera around, which means that you would have to put the transmitter in backwards, but then you wouldn't be able to really make use of being able to use the settings on the transmitter. So it kind of makes it a little bit redundant, even though the transmitter is there just to bridge that connection between the wireless mic and the camera itself. So the second problem actually comes down to how you actually have to connect the external microphone. So with the Osmo Action 4, you have to remove the USB-C door, but that means that the Osmo Action 4 is no longer waterproof. So if it rains or it snows, you can't really keep vlogging and you have to stop and put the door back on, and you can't then use your external microphone. So the solution to this is the new DJI Mic 2, because it provides a direct Bluetooth connection, which means that you don't have to use the receiver with the Action 4, and you also don't need to remove the USB-C door because you don't need to plug in the receiver. And if you're familiar with the Pocket 3, then you already know that this is possible, and a firmware update for the Action 4 a few weeks back enabled you to do this, but you could only really make use of it if you had the Osmo Action 3 with the Creator combo. But now that the DJI Mic 2 is available to buy, I definitely think it's well worth picking it up and replacing your DJI wireless microphone if you already have it, or if you were considering getting the DJI Mic 2, it's definitely worth a shout for your Action 4 if you're going to be vlogging. And if you also vlog with your phone, then you'll also get the same direct Bluetooth connection with that as well. So before I get onto the other really useful features, this is how you set up the mic with the Osmo Action 4. When you turn on the camera and the transmitter, if it doesn't pair automatically, all you need to do is press and hold the link button on the transmitter until the blue light starts blinking really fast. Then on the Action 4, you can go to the menu, select wireless mic, tap on the TX and it will begin to pair. When it's paired, you'll see that there's a confirmation message. Plus, when you go out of the menu back to the live view, you'll see a green bar at the top of the screen that displays your audio levels, which is really useful for knowing if your audio is too loud when getting into the orange or the red zone, or if it's too far to the left, then the audio levels are too low. So you can go into the audio settings menu to adjust the gain. And so this next setting actually brings me on to one of the useful features that I alluded to earlier, and that's the fact that you can actually record internally to the transmitters. So if you record your audio directly onto the Action 4 footage, you can also record your audio externally onto the transmitter, so you've kind of got a backup recording just in case anything happens to your footage and the audio on your footage. And the best thing about this feature is the fact that you've got a setting called 32-bit float recording, which means that it's going to make it really difficult for you to get crap audio If you're filming in loud environments or you film with somebody who talks really loudly, then you can kind of bring those levels back down without the audio sounding like it's gotten clipped. And then if you feel that you've also recorded the audio too low, then you can bring that audio, the audio levels back up without there being any hissing in the background of your audio. So it just means that you're getting that cleanest audio file possible. But this is only available when you do record internally to the DJI wireless microphone. And so just coming back to the loud environments, if you film anywhere, that was really loud. If you film anywhere where there's a lot of background noise or a lot of people talking and you can really hear them in the background, then you can enable the intelligent noise cancellation feature on the transmitter itself. And what that will do is try and cut out that background noise just to make your audio sound a little bit clearer and also just not have all that noise in the background. And the way to do that is just to press the power button on the transmitter, and then when you press that, the light will go yellow, and then if you want to turn it off, then you just press it again and then the light will go blue, and that'll mean that it's turned off. You can also enable and disable that setting on the Action 4 itself in the audio settings menu, and you'll see it where it says noise reduction, I think, or noise cancellation. And it's also in that menu that you can adjust your audio levels. So if you want to just increase the gain or reduce the gain, then you can do that where it says transmitter 1 gain, and then you just slide it left and right. And so just going back into the main wireless mic settings, there's a setting that means that you don't have to keep filming or recording the audio continuously on the transmitter, or if you're kind of forgetful and you don't press record when you want to, it means that you can just turn on audio to video sync, and that will start recording on both the Action 4 and the transmitter. So it means that, thank you, you've always got the audio recording as soon as you hit record on your Action 4, so you don't miss that audio file whilst you're vlogging with your camera.
I know I'm lucky, man, but I don't feel lucky, man. Why can't I feel what I know?
With the DJI Mic 2, you can pretty much choose what you get with it. So if you were filming with different cameras, then you could get the transmitter and the receiver as well. Or if you're just going to be filming with the Osmo Action 4, then you could just go for the transmitter, which comes in shadow black and also pearl white, which comes with a white furry windscreen as well. And the pearl white is just really good if you've got light clothing and you just want it to blend in a little bit more. But you can only connect one transmitter via direct Bluetooth connection with the Osmo Action 4, unlike the Pocket 3 where you can connect two transmitters. So if you did want to have two people talking in your vlog with your Action 4, then you'd have to also get the receiver as well. You've also got the option to get the DJI lavalier mic, so if you want something that's a little bit more discreet and something that's not going to be in your shot like the transmitter, whether you're holding it or it's attached to your clothing, then the lav mic just plugs into the top of the transmitter, and yeah, it's just a lot smaller and a lot more discreet. And so in terms of the battery life, with the charging case, it's going to charge up the transmitters and the receiver 2 times. And if you're recording internally, you'll get up to 14 hours of battery life. But if you're doing 32-bit float recording, then you'll get up to 11 hours of battery life. So it's more than enough for really filming and vlogging all day, especially if you end up getting 2 transmitters, then when one dies, then you can just pick the other one out and use that one instead. This mic is packed with so many features, especially if you film with anything other than the Osmo Action 4. So if you use like a mirrorless camera, for example, then there are so many more features. And if you want to see how it compares to the original DJI wireless mic system, so the first gen, then you can check out my next video. And there's also a link in the description to the DJI Mic 2.